Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Rob's Hot Mic Reaction. Show my live kind of quick take, if I can get a panel of experts together to kind of riff on the entertainment, the film industry news of the day. Of course, I am shooting this live. That said, we won't be engaging the chat immediately. We'll wait until after the show's done, and we hope to have this all put to bed by 9 p.m. And then if you're hanging around, enjoy yourself in the chat, and then stick around, and we'll have a little bit of an after party in the green room with our co-hosts. We've got a great panel together for you today to talk about this fascinating news story. As you may have seen on, if you follow deadline.com, apparently Amblin. Well, that was a big screw up. Oh, we're definitely editing this later. Amblin Partners and Netflix did a deal, established a partnership to make some more movies together. And if we look at Deadline Hollywood's headline here, hell freezes over. Steven Spielberg's Amblin Partners in deal to make movies for Netflix. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on here, folks. And so I thought it would be appropriate to get a group together, to get some eminence greases, some senior YouTube film beat film nerds. And so why don't I introduce them all to you now? First of all, we have from the channel Man of Movies, a beautiful man, even good enough according to his lovely spouse, the man, the myth, the legend, Jonathan Martinez.
What's
Jonathan,
up?
How are you, man?
I'm good, Rob. Hey, I don't know about being an expert, but I'll give my opinion whether you ask for it or not.
Well, I let you in the door, right? I mean, what am I going to say afterwards? Boy, he opened up his mouth a lot. Good to see you, man, and thanks for coming on the show. Now, the next, because we do have a panel for you, folks. The next legend is not only a media professional, former news guy who's moved over to the entertainment side of things. He is also apparently a dragon in his part-time. Let's welcome dragon movie guy Brian. How you doing, man?
Hey, everybody. Good to see you, Rob. Good to see you, Jonathan.
Good to see you, Brian.
I need like a wave graphic, because apparently I'm lazy. All right. Certainly, guys, last but certainly not least, the man I think, no offense to you two, but I think he is the hardest working man on the YouTube film beat. Let's welcome Sean from Lost in the Reel.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good to see you here, man.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, let's get to work, guys. I've got this is really kind of the highlight question. First and foremost, let's bring up that story again. As Mike Fleming wrote in this morning's Deadline, Steven Spielberg's Amblin Partners in deal to make movies for Netflix. Hell freezes over. Hot take or not? Guys, I want to weigh in here, and I'll start with you, Jonathan. Is it a hot take, or is it or are they right on the money?
I gotta say it's a really big hot take, especially with Steven Spielberg's words he had a couple of years back, especially towards Netflix, and then here we are today. Hell, I think, has indeed frozen over, my friend.
Oh, so as far as you're concerned, Fleming is right on the money with this. He's not just pulling something out of his you-know-what.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, Sean, how about you? Hot take or right on the money?
I was kind of shocked that he used the words "hell freezes over," but I guess it's kind of accurate because of what he has said in the past. But for me, I just feel like this was bound to happen.
All right, Brian, to you. We've got 2 for on the money, or at least within the ballpark. Like, maybe not right in the middle of the sweet spot, but hitting the board, getting points. What do you think?
I think there's a major asterisk for this being a hot take. It's only an asterisk to me if Steven Spielberg actually directs a movie for Netflix. Because Steven Spielberg, if you look at his IMDb page, starting in the mid '80s, he heavily, with the creation of Amblin, heavily went into the executive producer route for TV shows and like Animaniacs way back in the '90s. All kinds of shows. He was executive producing. He was helped get into production and get made. That doesn't necessarily mean that he was going to, direct an episode of Animaniacs, but he did help them get made. So I think that if you look at the wording in the article, there was obviously a lot of backtracking because obviously Steven Spielberg has been very outspoken about this. But I think it's only truly a hot take if he actually swallows his words and directs a movie specifically for Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, so we're holding on the hot take. We may have to reconvene every now and then just to see if Steven actually does put one of his actual. Well, okay. Yeah. You know what? That works for me, man. For myself, I'm kind of much like Sean had said. And Brian said, I'm going to be the only one here who's going to call this a hot take. Not only was it inevitable, it's not like he hadn't done television or produced television. You're absolutely right, Brian. He's not directing it. But even then, and he may never direct anything for Netflix. That said, especially when you look at the way this whole story has been pitched, everyone's talking about Spielberg. It's like this massive multi-billion-dollar company and then a picture of Steven Spielberg. That's it. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a hot take. I think they did the math. The world has changed. And I don't even think that just because he said there's a line between features and streaming, he has been okay, at least producing content on both sides of that line. He can actually stick to his opinion, perhaps misquoted, perhaps out of context, probably true. So anyway, that's why I'm voting hot take. Sean, as you said, this has been you figure this has been coming for a long time. What do you think this means for the bigger what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this all mean? What does this all mean?
When I say it's bound to happen, I just feel like Steven Spielberg, even though he said that there was a line between like theatrical releases and streaming, Netflix also allows a great deal of creative freedom. And even though Steven Spielberg does have that freedom, he's still working in the lines with Universal Pictures. So I'm sure there are other creative minds at Amblin that would like to do something other than Steven Spielberg related content. And I see that is what's probably going to be on Netflix. There are other creators other than Steven Spielberg there. So, the Universal Pictures deal, they still have it. It's still happening. So Steven Spielberg can continue doing his work with Universal, all the while the other creators at Amblin can, be a little bit more creative and have a little bit more freedom with Netflix.
No, makes sense to me. What do you think, Brian?
I was just thinking about this too. Like, given that he's doing most of his deals throughout his entire career through Universal, NBC and Universal, I'm a little surprised that he is doing this deal with Netflix. Obviously, Netflix being the biggest name, but given that Paramount coming out with the deal, obviously there's Paramount Plus, all these different streaming services, Warner Brothers. I'm surprised that they're not doing this through the NBC portal, the Peacock, in a way. Obviously, Peacock has just started. It's not really as solid a streaming service, but given the relationship with Universal and parent companies and relations, I am a little surprised they're not going through there. But Netflix obviously makes the most sense as being the biggest streamer worldwide.
It is the mega, although mind you, Disney coming up quick. Jonathan, what's your take on it all?
I like what Sean said about just because it's Amblin doesn't mean it's all going to be Steven Spielberg. We tend to put those two together, but there are a lot of creative minds in Amblin, and I do think that's what Netflix will be taking over. Those other people that want to have a voice in the game, and they'll go and they'll make shows or movies for the streaming service. And Brian, I like that idea of Peacock. I didn't think about it at first. It makes a lot of sense. I don't know why they didn't go with Peacock, other than Netflix being the mega giant of a streaming platform that it is.
Yeah, and obviously, Peacock is still really, really new. It's less than 6 months old, and I'm guessing that it's probably just because Netflix is the biggest worldwide, as well as in the U.S. But they can do all kinds of deals for Netflix overseas versus. So they could have done it any way they wanted to, but I think just for simplicity's sake, it probably does make the most sense for Netflix. Absolutely, Jonathan, you're right.
And if you read the detail in the stories, guys. There is, and folks, sorry about there's some interference. I blame it all on the internet. As far as there's some little noise interference. According to a couple of these stories, first of all, none of them talk money, just a partnership on top of, and the only reference to money was Netflix is going to be expected to finance some of these things. So. And if you look at Amblin Partners website, it's this is Amblin Partners is a production company with investment from Reliance Entertainment One, that E1, that big aggregator, Alibaba Pictures, and Universal Pictures. So they certainly talk to Universal like there is a conversation there. I'm being facetious with the thumbnail. There was a meeting of minds and was kind of, yeah, sure. And there's a part of me kind of going, is it just like a Netflix drove a dump truck full of money and said, can you make some movies for us? And they're like, yeah, sure, we'll crank up the machine.
I'm watching a movie right now, Rob. I know that you like Eliza Schlesinger. I'm watching the Netflix's Good on Paper movie. And
I'm looking forward to that. Are you literally watching it right now? That's what's going on in our background?
No.
There are people in our chat right now who probably want to hang with us later.
No, so
now they're like,
shocked.
that was funny.
What?
Sorry, continue.
It was perfect, though, because when the movie started, Universal Pictures, the logo came up. And obviously, Universal was a co-financer on that film. And I was like, oh my God, we're talking about that later because, Universal and Netflix banding together. So I feel like it's just a bunch of studios coming together. Netflix is just one part of the cog that's going to release some of these. But somehow, some way, they have billions of dollars, it seems like, just sitting around for them to do whatever with. So might as well have them finance some Amblin Entertainment.
Yeah, there's a lot of money. Sorry, Rob. Sorry.
No, go for it.
There's a lot of money that's being dumped over, like you said, to Amblin from Netflix. Netflix has a lot of money to spend on things, and we see this because all the time they have new movies and TV shows that they just love to cancel immediately and start brand new ones. But I don't know if you want to get into this now. I'll just hit this point real quick. I don't think the finances is the problem here. No matter if this is a partnership, I don't see this being very friendly for too long.
Oh, really?
I think of Sony and Marvel. We can get into that later.
Okay, all right. That's an interesting point, Brian. Looks like we're all kind of
You piqued my interest, Jonathan. You absolutely piqued my interest.
Before we get, you know what? That's obviously what I got to get into. But I do want to go back to one thing, and I think Sean brought it up, but we've all agreed with it. He's Steven Spielberg is not the only person at Amblin. And if we look at this, I know, of course, at the beginning of Amblin Partners, About Us, there is the iconic picture of, Spielberg post. That's got to be post when they built the big thing for him, just before or just after he did Jurassic Park. So he's now that big deal. But there is more to people. The team is right next to it. The team. And there's a picture of Steven Spielberg.
That is ridiculous.
Well, we know who the team is.
I just love that it says the team, but there's no picture of anyone there. And it says partners, but there's no picture of anyone
There's another person referred to. Oh, look, a link. There are other people at the company. I was desperate to bring that up because it's like,
Steven Spielberg.
Well, sure, there's kind of a team.
It's Steven Spielberg in different wigs and mustaches.
It's great.
You're at the craft service table and he's hustling you a sandwich. But yeah, the mustache. It's like, I think I just had didn't I just pitch my latest project to you? No, I don't know who that is. So you said a ham sandwich.
See, I'm just picturing Steven Spielberg doing all of the Marty McFly roles from Back to the Future 2 in the 2015 dinner, where he's got the wig on, and then Steven Spielberg has all of the different characters sitting around the dinner table. What movie should we make? I think we should do that one. No, we should do that one.
I love it, Brian.
Your ideas will break this company. No, you're the maniac here. They all look up the board table. Steven, you have to make a decision.
It's a fight scenario. It's only just him. He's imagining all of the other Spielbergs, but it's really just him and an empty table.
And then if one of them bombs, he doesn't take the credit as Steven Spielberg. He blames Stephanie Spielberg.
Of course. Who's got long hair?
My sister,
and a mustache
Stephanie.
and sunglasses and a floppy hat with a flower.
The team.
And a bad drag accent.
Yeah.
Okay, Jonathan, you're the one who brought up the whole it's they're gonna have a good time, but not necessarily a long time argument. Why don't you elaborate on that for us, and then we'll round table that for a bit.
Today's Christmas Day for all of them, so everybody's happy right now. Some people get to make more movies. Universal keeps their contract with Amblin. But what the first thing I thought when I read the article, I went straight to Sony and Marvel, even though it's not the same thing because they only share a character in Spider-Man. And we saw in the past year the conflict that they had, that they almost pulled him out of Marvel Studios. I don't know what it was for exactly. That was kind of hidden. But that's just a character. Imagine if they have any differences with money talks. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Money talks. But conflict will still brew with money or no money.
Okay. Brian, you're the most intrigued. What do you think?
I kind of wonder how much this is even actually really a thing at this point in Steven Spielberg's career. Because if you look at his IMDb page for the last 10 years or so, the vast majority of what he's been doing is biopics that are really high budget and not exactly Oscar contender type material. If you look at The Post and a few other films, it's not like he's in the peak of his career like he was in the 80s or even the 90s. This is Steven Spielberg, in the biopic. Well, who else can we do another biopic of? Part of his career. So I don't think we're missing out on. Well, I don't want to say missing out. I don't think Netflix is missing out on Raiders of the Lost Ark or Schindler's List. I think they're missing out on the post. If they're missing out on anything, because I do think Steven Spielberg probably won't be directing any movies directly for Netflix. Just my opinion. Even though Netflix has gotten a lot of big names, I think there's a reason why Steven Spielberg was pushing movie theaters in the same way that Quentin Tarantino pushes using actual film instead of digital. I think that's part of their beliefs as filmmakers, and I cheer them on as a movie fan myself. So I think even though there's money to be made there, I think that what we've seen from Netflix the last 3-4 years in terms of mid-level budgets, I think that's what we're going to be seeing largely from this deal, is more of those mid-level budgets that would have been mid-level budgets for feature films a couple years ago, but now seem to be straight to Netflix or Disney Plus.
Sean.
Yeah, I
What's
like
your
this
take on it?
I like what Dave has to say in the chat. He said Spielberg is getting up there in age. He needs to secure his retirement residuals with Netflix. I like that because I think it's a little bit on point.
Because I'm thinking about somebody who's like waiting for that residuals check, that green check from the WGA or whatever the color is from the Directors Guild of America. It's like, oh, thank God. I think Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. I don't know. I this whole thing, I really like the idea because I think a lot of the people at Amblin, they have been brought up by Spielberg, and he, like Brian said, he's getting older and he's concentrating on some of these biopics and more films that honestly I'm just not that interested in. So it would be interesting to see all of these people that he's cultivated, who obviously have really big ideas, get, maybe not like a huge budget, but get, enough of a budget to make the movie that they've been dreaming of. And hopefully there's some minds in the Amblin department who have minds just like Steven Spielberg.
It's great. Quick. I like what Jonathan said. It's Christmas right now. They're all just, you bet this has been a wonderful thing. I'm surprised that there's no numbers. And without numbers, without some math, it's like, yeah, okay, well, let's wait a couple of years and see how much product they actually, how many deals they do make, how many, a partnership agreement. It's like a first look. Is it like a big first look agreement where, you might never place a movie, they just get to look at it first, or they, but going back to something, Jonathan said, I think this will last as long as everyone's making money, though. I don't think this is as driven by Steven Spielberg, although he certainly has to be the guy. He's still the chairman, but there's going to be other people make it, like you've all said, making the actual movies, making these mid-budget. I think The Post is a perfect kind of movie for. The Post is where The Post belonged on Netflix. Like a lot of these flicks are really great streaming flicks now. The theater film experience is going to be for the big shocker, the big loud, or even The Quiet Place 2, I think is designed for the theater. The Quiet Place, certain horror in that. But yeah, I think this deal will last as long as they're making money. And I mean, I already lost one bet with Jonathan, so I should be careful making another small wager. I might have said that I was willing to say I thought In the Heights, it had such positive buzz out of that first weekend that it might actually surprise people and have more legs. Dan Morell in his thing today was like, has no legs. It's basically a poor amputee on a cart with blocks. In the Heights is basically Eddie Murphy in Trading Places, but an actual amputee. That's In the Heights. Just kind of getting along. Anyway,
it's so
that's
sad.
it. I'm gonna make another wager. I wouldn't. You know what? As much as it can break bad, it could also be one of those things as consolidation continues in this industry that one of these players eats the other. You know, you get close, and then you go, "Oh, this is working really well." For Amblin, we still have Universal is going to be the way we channel our premium for the theater content. And if there is such a thing as premium television or network television content, Netflix is the way we'll get to make those mid-level movies that we can't place in theaters anymore. And then does one of them just say, "Wow, why don't we just cut a check to someone and make it permanent?" There's my small wager.
I think it's going to happen.
I like the way you're all silent. It's like, well, that was crazy. Why did I say yes to Rob?
Rob, so what you're saying basically is that either Netflix or Universal will give in and just give full rights to either or?
No, I'm not talking even rights or anything. I'm really talking about one buying the other. Like one just what have we seen in the industry? Constant consolidation. And somebody's got to build up bulk to fight Disney, which is what the rest of the industry, right? So is this the first step on a larger play? Because there's Universal as an investor let's see, what is it? In the team.
The faceless team.
The faceless team, yes. I'm just willing to put that out there, guys, that this could actually be the first step. They've gone from dating, having coffee, to now they're actually seeing each other. Maybe not boyfriend, girlfriend, but they are seeing each other. And maybe there's a marriage down the road.
I can kind of see it, Rob. I might be on your team on this. I can see Universal buying Netflix out, actually. We always hear that Netflix is in constant debt. Isn't that true? Like but we never see the numbers, so I can't say much because we never see the numbers. But what we always do here is Netflix is $1 billion in debt. I just made that up, but they're $1 billion in debt. Universal is very successful, so I think I'm on your team here, Rob. If anything happens, I think Universal is going to be taking Netflix.
Yeah. Well, you know what? One or the other, and I just think it's an option. But you really got me started on this, Jonathan, because it's like what you're really describing is a breakup. And that's what can happen too. We're seeing each other, we're dating. That bastard did me wrong, and I threw all his shit out on the front lawn and it's on fire. You know? I'm open to that possibility as well. All right,
so
guys.
You're saying Steven Spielberg is going to be singing to the left, all your things on the box to the left?
Yes. That's exactly how it's going to play out. All right. Listen, I think Jonathan and I have kind of made our case. That said, why don't we wrap it up with DMG and then Sean, and then I'll do like a little bit of a credit spiel, and then we'll invite let's get, there's some great comments. We do have some people watching. There's some great comments. We can formally close the show and then have a nice chat with everyone. And then I'll do some editing and post it up later tonight or probably tomorrow. Good with you guys? All right.
Absolutely.
DMG, what's your final thoughts before we wrap up and get into the after party?
So before you get to your credit spiel, Berg, I
thought I was pretty good with the hot take on a spicy meal about hell freezing over.
But anyway, here in Vegas.
Good one.
Look, I think that I think that to a certain extent this is for a lot of content, but I don't think we're going to be seeing all the premium content going to Netflix. I think that all of the really serious Oscar contenders that they believe are Oscar nominees or Oscar winners are still going to be headed towards theaters, and obviously the big blockbusters still go into theaters as well. I think when I forget, Rob, the movie that you always love hammering on, the Charlize Theron action movie. I'm brain
The Old
farting.
Guard.
God,
The Old Guard. That was it. Yes. I think we're going to be seeing tons and tons of Amblin Entertainment producing The Old Guard for Netflix. I think that's sort of right in Netflix's wheelhouse. Whole seasons of 6 to 8 episodes that they don't do a pilot, they just go straight to a first season. I think we're going to be seeing The Old Guard, this streaming show, in the same way that we're seeing Army of the Dead going straight to a streaming series. Barely even got the theater. So that's my prediction for this. It's sort of like when they go, hey, we should make Jurassic Park 3, and Steven Spielberg was like, I got a perfect guy to direct that for you. Joe Johnston.
Yeah, I got a guy.
I know a guy. I think
it does refer
probably
to a team.
Yeah. The C-level Avengers of content production straight to Netflix.
Yeah. Maybe they even have...
As Disney used to go straight to Disney DVD on Peter Pan 2 and all these other animated but not animated to feature quality, I think that's sort of what we're probably going to see with Amblin straight to Netflix.
Okay. Sean, close it out for us. Drop some wisdom on us.
I agree with Brian, absolutely. Though I hate The Old Guard. I hope we don't see any more of that nonsense.
I have a great Old Guard hot take for after.
I'm scared. But I will counter with something that Brian said as well, when he said Oscar winners. So Amblin produced The Trial of the Chicago 7, which ended up being a huge Oscar contender. So I can also see them putting out Oscar contenders on Netflix as well. It just depends on what they feel is right. So I am interested to see where they decide, like, okay, Netflix is gonna do this and Universal is gonna do this. I'm interested to see how that divide works out. But at the end of the day, I definitely don't see any Steven Spielberg on Netflix himself, and I'm okay with that. I still want to see Steven Spielberg in the theaters, but I'm also just really excited to see other creators from Amblin get their own voice heard as well.
Fantastic. Well, listen, on that note, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of close out the show, so I got a nice little bit that I don't have to record later, and then we'll bring in the chat and we'll have a nice chat with everybody. This is what I'll end up doing probably is I'll take it offline, I'll recut it just for just to talk about what we're talking about here. But in the meantime, let's have some fun with the chat. Maybe I'll even cut it right down the middle. Hey, the after party.
In the hotel lobby.
In the hotel lobby. In the hotel lobby. Exactly. All right, everybody. First of all, let's do this right. Jonathan, I know you. I've got you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You like to, mostly on your social media, you like to hang out on Instagram at Man of Movies 96, Man of Movies on YouTube. I'll have everybody's links in the description or in a pinned comment later tonight. I really did pull this out of my you-know-what. What else? What are you looking forward to? You're a member of the Cinema Squad?
Yes, a member of the Cinema Squad with one of my super awesome friends right here with me, Sean from Lost in the Reel. We started this together with some other people, and man, what an experience! And it's only just started, man. Only just started. On my end of things, I have started my new series breakdown of the Loki series, where every Friday, me and my co-host Dan from the Upside Dan will go live and break down the specific episode that was released that week. We get into spoilers, into theories, and all else.
Fantastic. All right. So, folks, be sure to check that out this Friday. You'll be looking at episode 3, you and Dan, eh?
Yes.
Another friend of the show. Fantastic. All right. Sean, now, of course, Lost in the Reel. hardest working man on the film beat here on YouTube. Lost in the Reel on Twitter, at Lost in the Reel. You also, I don't know, you passed some sort of rinky-dink milestone, which I think is all of our subscribers added together, multiplied by 4 times. What's the number again?
2,000.
Yeah, let's everybody in the
Thank
chat.
you.
Let's see those golf clap emojis in the chat for the man. That's congratulations, man. I haven't had a chance to talk to Jim yet, but I think what we'll try and do is on our Sunday show, we'll give our own entries into your contest, because that was just when I saw that, I thought that was super fun, and we'll try and do that for Sunday. But what else are you looking forward to?
Yeah, so definitely if anyone's in the chat right now, I do have a competition that's going on, like Rob was just saying, where you basically you can either comment on the video or make your own video on your channel or Instagram or Facebook, wherever you want to post it. Just let me know about your top 3 hidden gems, and you'll be entered into kind of like a raffle, not a raffle, like a.
I'll be sure, folks, to put a link in either the description or in pinned comment to Sean's video going through all the rules. All right.
Thank you.
You may be last, but you're definitely not least, Brian. Brian on Instagram, again, you're another Instagram guy, at Dragon Movie Guy. Of course, you also are on Twitter at the same handle, Dragon Movie Guy. Some of the best. I love your reactions, because they're not the usual super over-the-top, hyped-up stuff. It's like kind of, yeah, sure. You got some of the driest reactions I've ever seen. But what are you looking forward to? What do you got coming up?
Well, I hope they're not too dry to avoid the chafing, but yeah, I do love doing. Yeah, I do love doing the reaction videos, as well as I'm also trying to move into some more ranking videos too, kind of in anticipation of the summer movies that we were all supposed to get in 2020 that we never got. So I'm looking to do a couple more ranking videos each week in anticipation of Black Widow when it comes out. And I was going to do some for Fast and Furious, kind of got a little bit away from me, but looking forward to doing more ranking videos as we get closer to some of the bigger movies coming out in July and in August.
All right. Very cool, man. All right. Sean, I know you've got another gig in like 15 minutes, so you've just plain gotta go.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It was awesome.
Really appreciate that. I'm glad you had a good time, man. Brian, Jonathan, hey, you know what? I'm going to take us all off the screen. I'm going to say hello and goodbye to everyone, but I'm going to tell you all, hang tough for a couple of minutes. We're all just going to, maybe take a moment, go to the potty, whatever you need to do, and then we'll come back and we'll have a bit of maybe 15, 20 minutes hanging out with the chat. Is that cool with you guys? Outstanding. All righty. Sean, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Brian, we'll see you back soon. Jonathan, what can I say? We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
All right.
All right, everybody. As I said before, thank you so much, first of all, for showing up to hear my first hot mic reaction to a news story. Really appreciate that. Stick around for a little longer, unless this is actually the replay, and what's the point to stick around? Oh, well, I don't know. See here, you can probably subscribe to me here, and over here there'll be an opportunity to see another video of mine, and I just think that's a wonderful thing. Alrighty, I'm gonna go off for a minute. Again, everyone who's in the chat, hang out for a minute or two. We'll be right back. I'll leave some tunes on, and don't burn the place down, and we'll hang out with you for a bit. Okay, ciao for now.